Hi, I'm Mike from Scoutadelic, and how can you play Spot the Hazards? Find out. Hi, I'm Mike and welcome to Scoutadelic. Now today I'm going to teach you a really cool activity and game that you can play, which is Spot the Hazard, which is great if you're doing the merit badge fire safety or home safety or anything like that. Before I do, don't forget to click subscribe, please, really help me out. You know, it's free to do and it means that you get all my content, so every time I post something new it pops up and reminds you, so you never miss any idea or activity or skill that you might obviously teach your scouts. So go on, do so. So this is a really good game that you can actually do in groups. Now a lot of people, when they're talking about hazards, they print off the piece of paper and it'll have like a various scene, and it'll have like electrical plugs out, it'll have sockets on, it'll have this, that and the other, it'll have scissors and all over the place. But I always find if you're going to engage with scouts, then actually having it physically there rather than them looking at a picture is going to get their brain working. So what I've done in the past when talking about fire safety is I've set off the fire alarm so every single person is out and knows how to obviously do the fire alarm test in a club hall or wherever you're obviously situated with your scouts. Once they're outside, a few others will rearrange and make the hall a mess. So they'll have electrical sockets out of place. They'll have like sort of screwdrivers just laying around. They'll have scissors open, and they'll have all these different elements like kettles out and stuff like that. And what we usually then is in their sixes or their groups that they're in, they get a clipboard and they've got to find as many different hazards that they can see. So they have to think about trip hazards, you know, electrical fires, anything like that. So like equipment that could injure someone if they're leaving for the fire, any screws that maybe are out, so if they trip up, are they going to hurt themselves even more by landing on a screw? Even electrical fires, so for example, you know, like a microwave or anything like that. Paper, so I usually like sort of had a scrunch of paper or the bin knocked over, so that could obviously catch on fire. So all these different things. So and then allow the scouts to go around in their groups and actually uncover them. You'll find that they may actually uncover some things that you didn't even know about your hut, that you didn't even notice because you haven't set it in place. It was already there and they've noticed it by looking around and looking at these very details. Another situation is actually doing like a fake campsite, having a tent out, so they know that obviously if a tent is catching on fire or anything like that, well, how do they need to store stuff so they can get out very safely? What about guidelines, guy ropes, you know, animals, the outsiding factors, all these different things. Candles as well, you know, and if they've had like a campfire, where should that be? Should that be close to the tents, away from the tents? So all this will help them because then they can go home and look at the fire escape plans. How can they get their family out safely? And it builds on that. So getting them to spot hazards as a game, so they've got a clipboard and they're going around the hall or the scenario that you've obviously set for them, it actually makes them think, whereas a bit of a picture on the floor, they're not really doing anything, they're just sat looking at a picture. So be more active, be more engaging with them and get them to do stuff. And also it's really fun to trash the hall and make it look amazing, because then what you can do at the end of it is actually get the cubs to fix the problems, fix the hazards. So if the bin's spilled over, well, someone's going to have to put that back together. If the scissors aren't in the right place, well, get them to put the scissors in the right place and carry them the right way. You know, if there's a screwdriver out, all these different things. So not only are they learning about the hazards, they're also learning how to fix those hazards so that when they go home, they can make sure that they're safe and well. And also it helps out, so if you're obviously wanting to update your risk assessments, they can do it for you. Well, there we are. That's a really cool activity in game that you can do. It's really easy to set up, and you can talk about obviously fire safety and get them to understand the fire alarm. If you've got a smoke machine as well, why not set that one off? I did that, so I didn't tell any of my leaders. I set the smoke machine, I locked one of the cupboards so the smoke would obviously come under the door. It's shocking how many of my leaders passed it, but as soon as a cub noticed it, they set off the fire alarm and that was it. Okay, so you've got to think, sometimes your leaders aren't going to be as keyed in as sometimes your scouts are. So there we are. If you like that video, then give it a thumbs up and share it around. It's a really fun, easy activity to do. You don't need to do anything except use the equipment you've got at the hall itself or the place, and then it builds on this whole fire escape plan at home as well. Otherwise, I'll see you again soon for another one of these. Bye!